Welcome back to Renovation, where we show you everything DIY, and today we're going to be fitting this column radiator to this wall in place of an old conventional radiator. So this one here, this is a steel vertical radiator and it weighs an absolute ton. So this wall is a solid wall behind us. If you haven't got a solid wall, I'd probably recommend getting an aluminium radiator. So step one would usually be to remove the old radiator, but obviously in our case it's already gone. Or if you're moving it to another wall, it shouldn't really matter. So yeah, in this case, move straight to step two, which will be to fit it to the wall, so then you know exactly where the pipes need to run to. So for us, we need it to miss the front door when it opens, so it's going to be roughly here. And as I mentioned, the instructions are never usually any good. So the best way I've found to do it is either to mark the top or the bottom position, and then just measure down to where the brackets will hook onto. And then that's how you find the top or bottom brackets. So if I make a mark at where I want the top to be, about there, and then I can just check 1800 down to the bottom, see if I'm happy with that position, which I am. So this is where the top of the radiator should sit, so that'll give enough space for this RSJ. This is the top of the radiator, and then this second level line is where this bar is. So that bar is what this hooks onto. So the bottom of that bar is this line here, and then to find out where the brackets actually need to sit on that line, I just took the measurement from this side to the center, which was 7.2. So the line at the side, 7.2 in, is that mark. Same this side, and then this is where it gets a little bit trickier. So to find out where to actually screw the holes, as I mentioned, this line is where this hooks onto, so I'll have to line the bottom of that hook up with that, and then you can see I've made another little mark there where the top of the bracket sits. So then all I have to do is put this, bit difficult to show, in line with that marking, and then in line with that there. And that's essentially where that will sit. So I'll do the same for the other side, and then we can measure up the bottom ones. Before you mark the holes, just take a level and just make sure your bracket's actually sitting level on the wall. And then once you're happy, you just mark the center of each hole, and there you have it. So both of those are marked out for the top. So to measure and mark the bottom, all I've done is I've measured the bottom part of where the top bracket sits and measured down to where the bottom brackets will sit. So the two ring bars at the top and bottom of the radiator, the bottom of the top one to the bottom of the bottom one will be the bottom level line, if that makes sense. Okay, so we've got all the markings marked out on the wall. I would suggest, if it's a solid wall, using an STS drill. So yeah, I think I'm going to do the top ones first and then just remeasure the bottom ones just to make sure the distance right. You have got a little adjustment on them, but yeah, going to do all that now, and then I'll catch back up with you later.
Free to play daily, and on each Friday until the end of March.
So I should probably mention that before you buy any radiator, you should check the BTU rating for your rooms. So there's loads of calculators that you can use online. You just type in all the measurements of your room, whether you've got external walls on the actual room or insulation, insulated roof, floor, all that stuff, and that will give you the BTU calculation, which you'll need to obviously have the radiator to exceed that. These vertical ones aren't as good as the conventional ones, but obviously they look a lot nicer. There's also a slight difference between the material of them. So like I said, this one's steel, and you can get aluminium, which heats up faster, but obviously cools down faster. In older homes, I believe it's better to get a steel radiator because it does retain its heat a lot more. Yeah, for a house like ours, I think it's a 1970s. We've got some insulation, but for that era of house, I probably would recommend a steel radiator if you've got solid walls. Okay, so that's it hung up on the wall. Next is obviously to work out where the pipework needs to go. Obviously we've moved the position of the old radiator, so all these will have to be changed. So what I like to do is I like to fit everything onto the radiator side first with the valves, and then it's easier to sort of work out where to route the copper pipe in. I usually wrap these up in PTFE, about 18 turns, and I don't know if you can see on the camera, but they sort of, it gets gradually thicker as it goes up. So what I normally do with the PTFE is I'll build it up in the same sort of pattern as this. These vertical radiators will have an inlet and an outlet side, as is this side. It's typically on the left hand side, and basically what it is there'll be a little diverter here, so when the feed comes in it will shoot it up and then it will drain down across the radiator. If you do that wrong, it won't heat up properly, possibly will just stay cold at the top. They're not on yet, but now basically what I can do is I can see where it will have, I can see where the pipe will need to come down from. The next step now will be to turn the boiler off and drain all the radiators, release all the valves on them so the system is completely empty. I've just dry fitted all of these. Also, I've put a drain off there. You are supposed to have one of these on, well, not every radiator, but you are supposed to have a few of them around the house, so I've put one there. And yeah, like I said, I've dry fitted all of these. So next what I need to do is take them off, solder. I'm going to solder it all up to there, and then I'll only have one to do in situ then. So that's the way I'm going to do it. Okay, so we're at the point where both of our valves are on. So what you need to do now is to close all the valves on all the radiators that you loosened earlier to drain the system. Close all them up, and then you want to repressurise the boiler, go round from the furthest radiator away and start bleeding the radiators backwards. In our case this is the closest, so we'll do this one last, and then as you're doing that, just check for leaks. If you've done everything right, there should be no leaks. So I've just gone around the whole house now, bled all the system. Now, once it's all bled and up to pressure, you want to set your boiler to about 1.25 bar, and then turn your boiler and heat them back on. Let it all get up to temperature, and then again check for leaks, and just make sure you've shut all the valves off properly, and then you should be good to go. And this is all red hot now. It's all working as it should. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this helped if you're looking to do this yourself. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more DIY videos.